Hey everybody, Roland Smith here, Mountain Bushcrafters Alliance. Now I'm not much of a equipment review guy, but I want to talk to you about what works for me and what don't work for me. So as we go along through the day, I may compile a bunch of gear videos that I've had and used. Some things has failed me just by normal use. Other things has been simply rough housed, as old timers say, and failed. But these are one of the things that I want to talk about first of all this morning. It's a crampon. It's a Catula. It's a name brand. Now they're not giving these away. They're $70 a pair, and I've had these for 3 years, and simply cannot go where I go without these. Nearly impossible. But I noticed this year I was getting some elasticity loss on the wire. Frozen streams, frozen creeks, hillsides, cliff lines. I've got to have these. But I had to modify. So I added a bungee strap to go around and to clip in the other length that will hold the crampon in place, because I've lost these, like I said, twice. And I had to come up with an idea to get some use out of them, because like I said, they're not giving them away. They're $70 a pair. Walmart sells a cheap brand of crampons. You can find them different styles, different prices. But you see it in time, you have to make repairs on anything. So stay with me. I'll talk a little bit more as we go along. Some of the things that I think manufacturers need to pay attention to as far as quality control. We're talking about normal use. Things that will make being out here, whether you kayak, whether you trap, hunt, whatever, things that the manufacturer could do to make the equipment last longer and work better. So stay with me. Now, as I stated at the beginning of the video, I'm no tool review man. I'm just telling you what I use and what works for me. And what works for me might not work for you. If what you're using works for you, don't modify it. Don't change it until it doesn't work anymore. Stick with what works for you. Now, a lot of people go in these tool reviews for whatever reason. Maybe a free tool, maybe a discount, maybe a shout out. I don't know, but that's not the case here. I'm just telling you what works for me. They'll go into a tool review and they'll give you a name brand. Oh, you need to buy that. It's this name and that name, and you need to carry this tool. It weighs this much, and the metal's made from this. That's all fine and dandy. I'm not knocking nobody. All I'm saying is what works for me is what I'm going to stick with. And as far as bedding my traps, this is what I use. Now, a lot of people use sod buster. That's fine. Those things are awesome. But if you're walking a cliff line, this right here is the tool to have. Now, if you're driving, if you're doing road sets, you pull up and get your tools out and walk over, say 20, 30 feet, carry whatever you want to. But this is what I use. The 3-in-1 Groundhog. It's great for punching dirt holes, bedding traps, and driving anchors. Okay? But the modification, the quality control modification to these tools to make them better would be a hole to clean the tube out. Because if you've got froze dirt in here, if you don't clean that out, if you're in a situation where you can't clean it out and you got froze dirt in here, that thing becomes heavy. And you can't hardly get the dirt out. And you work needlessly to get a dirt hole punched in the ground. People say, well, take your piece of rebar. That ain't no big deal. It ain't no big deal for them to put a hole in that either, is it? Clean that out. Now, the greatest modification, as far as, not modification, but the greatest quality control upgrade that they could do to this tool, I don't know if you can see it, but here's the weld. Here's weld. No weld. I don't know if I'm getting it in the shot. That's dirt. There's no weld, and I'll show you. I bought 2 of these. They's a little over $30. 2 of them. They're not giving them away. And I'm glad by accident I bought 2 because of this. These tools, I used this tool 1 year. Started using it this season before the ground even froze. It was driving me an earth anchor. The digger popped off. Why? Because the lack of weld there. No weld. No weld. They got it on the top and got it on the back, but that's it. If they would put you a hole in the top of the tool where you could get a piece of rebar, piece of steel, whatever, clean that tube out, and put 2 more beads of weld on this, this would be by far the best tool on the market. There would none even come close to this tool, because if you're, like I said, if you're packing this tool up the ridge lines, around the cliff lines, down the hill and up the hill, this tool, as far as weight, it's not bad at all, because I packed a lot of stuff. But now, as the weather changes, so does your tools. They have to. You go from soft ground, wet ground, to hard froze ground. Masonry hammer. Takes a whole lot to drive an earth anchor with this thing, because it's light. But when it comes to bedding a trap, and it weighs nothing, probably about 16 ounces, I guess, maybe. But if you're bedding a trap, that's the route to take right there. You can't damage an Estwing, especially a masonry hammer. But that's those tools. Like I said, the upgrade quality control, hole to clean out the tube. People say, well, just pick it out. Sometimes if you're in clay dirt and it's froze, you're not going to pick it out. It's going to be there. And you have to work needlessly to get a dirt hole. See what I'm saying? I've heard people say, well, take your driver. Take a piece of rebar. It ain't no big deal. It ain't no big deal for them to put a hole in it either. But the weld is the greatest issue. I mean, the hole is not really a big issue to clean that out. For me, it's not. But the weld is an issue. And I'm looking for that to come off just any day. I've been watching it. I use it every day, nearly. But that is the 3-in-1 Groundhog tool. Awesome tool. Needs some quality control. Needs some upgrades. Stay with me. Now I know I've done videos on the Lord & Pack. I think 2 to be exact. But I want to talk to you about modifications and upgrades that the manufacturer can do to encourage you to buy. And like I said before, I'm not trying to convince you to buy this or that. All I'm saying is what I use and what works for me. But what they can do to help the consumer, the person out in the field. Now, the first year I trapped, I used a 30-gallon garbage can. Reinforced the bottom, reinforced the attachments for the straps, added straps, put a dry bag in it, and it was as good as anything, I guess, on the market today. Worked. Served a purpose. Then I upgraded to a Lord & Pack. Now, last year I had a rotator cuff repair. I had a partial knee replacement. I had a meniscus repair. I had a vein ablation and a vein removal. And I'm waiting on a tendon in the bottom of my foot to be repaired. But that's another story all itself. All I'm saying is, the manufacturer can do things to make you, the person out in the field on the trap line where you're fishing, hunting, whatever, they can do things because you as a consumer, knows what fails and what works, what isn't worth having, and the stuff that you would buy again. Now, having said that, the rotator cuff repair. Lorn Pack is made from a webbing. It's a fiberglass webbing, kind of like the binding that companies bind shipments down with. A reinforced bottom, ultralight. It doesn't come with a liner. You got to buy the liner separate. I think by the time you get the liner, this is a large. It was right at $100. I could have went and bought an Adirondack pack for $250 or $300. But would I have been willing to put that $300 or $400 pack down in the mud and the snow, the muck? Because being out here in the wintertime gets nasty. And this pack is the proof of it. I've carried this thing for 2 years without issue. Okay? Without issue. Now, the mods that they can do to help you or to encourage you is to add padding to the straps. You see, that would have been a major plus when it come to using the Lorn Pack. Now I added a little chest strap to go across to keep it from pulling or coming off to the side. But what I'm saying is, this helps relieve the stress of the rotator. I trapped with the rotator cuff torn, okay? And I'm not wanting y'all to pat him on the back. I'm just saying, I had to add padding to the webbing of the straps to ease the pressure of the rotator cuff. Manufacturer do that for a few more dollars, you would be more apt to buy the pack. Like I said, these things are nearly indestructible. I've had no issue whatsoever, none of the binding coming apart, no tears, no rips, no nothing. Now, I also added a place to the little hammer holder, about shot, but that makes a difference. That's mods that Loring can do to help you as a consumer to buy their stuff. Like I said before, I'm not getting pats on the back. I'm not trying to convince you to go out and buy a Loring pack. The garbage can that I carried, the 30-gallon garbage can that I carried, worked just as good as the Loring pack. The only thing about plastic, when it comes to fiberglass, the fiberglass packs that they sell, or the plastic, they're more plastic than they are fiberglass. In cold temperatures, they become rigid. Now, if you road trap, like I said before, you road trap, it doesn't matter. Put everything you own in a bucket, 2 buckets. Carry it to the area, set it, get in your side by side or your 4-wheel drive and go on. If you hike these ridges, these cliff lines, these trails, setting traps, comfort is everything. Now, last year, I believe it was last year, I was walking 8 miles. 4 miles in, 4 miles out, back to my vehicle. I'd take my Nissan as far as I could, and then I'd walk the rest of the way. I had a poke sled that I pulled. I had a deer sled when I didn't have snow. I'd walk in 4 miles. Some days there would be nothing there. Nothing. After walking 4 miles. Then turn and walk back out. Get my vehicle and come home. But like I said, if you're walking these cliff lines, these ridge tops, comfort is everything. And the manufacturer can do a lot of stuff to make your trapping, your fishing, your hunting a lot more simplified, a lot more comfortable. But I'm going to head out. Didn't have anything much today. Notice I said much. I'm off the line. The line starts probably about a mile from here, so I'm good to go. Everything's freshened up, everything's ready to go, everything's winterized. All I gotta have is their hunger and their curiosity. and it should play out. That's the Lauren pack. They make a small or a medium, a large, and extra large. This is the large. I make one bigger than this. But for $100, the liner, pack, the mods, or some kind of, this is an old Army issue, Molly waist pack, I believe that's what it's called. Maybe ain't what it's called, that's what I'm calling it. Cut the straps off, took my stitch off, and attached some padding. Tell you something, when you got a rotator cuff torn, it's a big deal. Having it fixed is an even bigger deal. Probably the worst surgery I've had yet. But I'm waiting on a foot repair now. Got a torn tendon in the bottom of my foot. As soon as trap season's over and I pull that last trap, I'm going in and getting the repair done. And I'll be back out kayaking, bushcrafting, camping, and hiking. And I hope you follow along with me. But today's been about mods. Things, modifications, things that make, entice, and help you, the consumer, to buy. I'm not getting no kickback. I'm not getting no free products. I'm not getting no pats on the back. I'm not even giving a shout. I'm not even giving a shout out for doing this. I'm just telling you, you know what works out in the field. You're there. You're the one digging. You're the one working. You're the one out in the field. You are. And you know what works and what don't work, what fails and what's a keeper. Thanks for watching. I hope this has helped you some on the mods. If you ain't got a pack, go to Walmart, go to Dollar Store, get you a 30-gallon garbage can, put you some straps on it, reinforce it a little bit, get you a $8 dry bag, a large dry bag, put it down in it, hit the trail. This is Roland Smith, Mountain Bushcrafters Alliance. As always, go farther, stay longer. I'll catch you out in the field.